This is the concluding part of a message I started last week. I had said it was commonplace to hear our parents and grandparents warn us about intermarriages with certain tribes and races. They not only warned us about intermarriages, but they also warned us about mingling with them. In our world today, this is called discrimination, which is seen as morally wrong and in some cases legally wrong. But discrimination has always been with us and started from God Himself. There are several passages in the Bible where we see God warning the children of Israel about marrying women from certain nations and tribes. For thou shalt worship no other God, for the Lord whose name is jealous, He is a jealous God. Lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, and they go a-whoring after their gods, and do sacrifice unto their gods, and one call thee, and thou eat of his sacrifice. And thou take of their daughters unto thy sons, and their daughters go a-whoring after their gods, and make thy sons go a-whoring after their gods. God was very clear on this, and why? Do you know what Esau did? He not only married one but two Hittite women just to spite his parents. Guess what happened? These women, who are described as adulterous and idolatrous, made life hell for Isaac and Rebekah. It's no wonder Isaac warned Jacob not to make the mistake of marrying a woman from Canaan. Our forefathers did the same thing. As the world became technologically advanced and travel became easier, they sent their children to foreign lands to acquire an education. But there was always the admonition, don't marry from there. Don't lose your foundation upbringing and culture. Make sure you come home when you are done with your studies to take over the family business. Back in the days, most of those who went overseas complied, while a few returned with foreign wives, to the dismay of their parents. As time has gone by, we've seen this time-honored admonition of our forefathers thrown out of the windows. Parents now not only send their kids to foreign lands to acquire a foreign education, but they also encourage them to acquire foreign accents, wives, lifestyle, and religion. If your kids don't sound British or American, you have not arrived. You hear many parents telling their kids to shine their eyes and do what others are doing. They beg their children not to come back to Nigeria until they acquire the proverbial golden fleece. Just stay there and be sending us dollars. The dollars are more important than your presence, they seem to be saying. We are now sending our underage children, some who are less than 10 years old, to foreign boarding schools to acquire a foreign education. Some of us can't be bothered with the rigors of day-to-day school runs. We want an empty nest. Where did this culture come from? It's not African in any way. How did we get here? We are grooming children who won't have our spirit in them. In recent times, Bobrisky was dominating the news. How did a Bobrisky become acceptable to all that has become news? Look around you and see the culture shocks we're experiencing everywhere. Divorce is more fashionable than marriage. In times past, families would be ashamed that one of their own was divorced. But now, before you say Tinubu, the marriage is over, and some people will throw a divorce party. We encourage and allowed our children to bring strange gods into our land, and now we are the strangers in our land. We are the voiceless minority in a society where anything goes. You are called bush or unexposed if you speak against the strange gods. You will see parents who look and sound perfectly normal dropping off their daughters who are half naked at school. The irony of it all is that a lot of parents are now realizing their mistakes. Those who wanted an empty nest have been abandoned to their empty nest in their old age. Their once glittering mansions, which symbolized their status and wealth, now lie decrepit and overtaken by weeds. Their foreign-trained children are counting down to the day they will die, so they will jet in and sell the house and take the money back to America or Europe. Children are exhuming the bodies of their dead parents so they can sell their houses. Some don't even come home for their parents' funerals. Some parents are carrying their kids from one drug rehabilitation center to the next. The same kids' parents sold properties to train overseas. The same kids some looted the coffers of our nation to send overseas. These are the effects of strange gods. The most painful thing for me is seeing how many aged parents are suffering from loneliness, heartbreak, and lack of care. In this age of phones, their phones stay silent. Their kids are too busy running the rat race. The same children who they thought that acquisition of dollars was more important than a filial relationship have now matured into a life of disregard for parents and family. Families are now totally disintegrated as they are scattered all over the globe, chasing the precious dollar. The dollar is the greatest strange god in our world today. We will pay any price to be with this god. How did we get here? This is not our tradition, and this is not who we are. This is why our forefathers warned us not to bring back strange gods and cultures to our land. This is why God warned his people not to marry certain tribes and nations. Take good heed therefore unto yourselves, that ye love the Lord your God. Else, if you do in any wise go back and cleave unto the remnant of those nations, even these that remain among you, and shall make marriages with them, and go in unto them, and they to you, know for a certainty that the Lord your God will no more drive out any of these nations from before you, but they shall be snares and traps unto you, and scourges in your sides, and thorns in your eyes, until ye perish from off this good land which the Lord your God hath given you. We are reaping what we have sown. We are laying on the bed we made. We did this to ourselves. We sold our properties to send our children to foreign lands to bring back foreign gods. We ignored the counsel of our forefathers. We ignored God's admonition. But hear me and hear me good. God says that if his people who are called by his name will humble themselves and pray and seek his face and turn from their wicked ways, then he, God, will hear from heaven and will forgive their sins and heal their land. The ball is now in your court. May God have mercy on us all. God bless you all.